Hey everybody, this is a high-powered Wi-Fi access point intended for outdoor applications. It's able to broadcast a strong signal for a long distance. Unfortunately, it wasn't doing that. I was only getting a fraction of its output power. And so I went into its configuration and its settings and turned the power up and set it to high power operation. But I still wasn't getting strong output power from this unit, even though the configuration settings were set to high power output. Well, this was a bit of an adventure for me to figure out, and if I was a professional wireless installer, I probably would have known the answer immediately. But I thought I had a pretty good understanding about setting up equipment like this, and I didn't know this one. So I want to share a tip with you as to how you can unlock the performance of the radio inside of your access point or router to get maximum performance from the unit and the strongest possible signal. Now, this tip will work with any brand or any model access point or router. And it's not a secret, and it doesn't require a soldering iron or dilithium crystals. It's just a matter of getting the right combination of settings in the configuration to unlock the full performance of the radio. So what happened was that I decided to update the firmware in this device, and it didn't go well. I installed the new firmware, everything looked good, I reset the device and booted it back up, and I could not connect to it with the browser. It was bricked. So I went on a big process of recovering this unit and pushing fresh firmware into it that worked, and that was not really a whole bunch of fun. But I finally got the unit up and running and working once again. And after I got it working, I discovered that it was working fine, but I wasn't getting as strong of a signal from this as I used to. It was only running at a fraction of its output power. And I went through and looked at all of the settings, and everything looked just fine. I went to the output power setting under the wireless configuration and turned it way up, saved that, and everything saved. It looked perfect in the menus. Machine booted back up, but the output power didn't change. I was still getting a weak signal from this. And so it took me some investigation to figure out why and what the proper settings were in order to unlock the radio to give me access to full power operation, even though I already had the menu set to full power. Well, let me do a quick little segue here. Should you run at full power? Is that a good idea? My advice is that you should run at as low of a power level as you can that still gives you good performance and reliable connections. Because running higher power than that is just a waste. It just increases your possibility of interfering with somebody else nearby, and it just blasts you with unnecessary amounts of microwave energy. So if you don't need to run really high power levels, why? Don't. It's just wasteful. But sometimes you do want more power. If you're trying to send a signal a long distance, cover a wide area, or you need to propagate a signal through some barriers such as trees or walls, and you're experiencing connectivity issues or poor performance, well, then boosting the power may be just what you need to do. So after doing quite a bit of investigation on this topic and looking at all of the different wireless settings that had no impact on it, I finally discovered what the problem was. The problem was the government. You see, our government has rules and regulations about maximum broadcast power on different frequencies. And these units can broadcast on 2.4 gigahertz frequency or 5 gigahertz frequency. Some devices only work at 2.4 and some only work at 5 and some work at both. But those are the bands that the Wi-Fi system works in. And within those bands, the governments of the world set up maximum allowable power limits. Now, within the United States, on the 2.4 gigahertz band, all of the channels that are available in the US in that band have the same power limit. So that means that you could run on the 2.4 G band, and any channel you choose should be about the same power level as any other channel that the device may run on. However, in the 5G band, that is not the case. Certain channels are dedicated as lower power channels, some are medium power channels, and some channels allow for high power operation. And so it's important that if you want to run at the highest power levels, you have to choose the exact right channel numbers to allow the radio and the device to operate at full power. So what you need to do is to go under the wireless settings on your access point or router and make sure that the region or the country code is set correctly. And that will tell the device what the power levels are that are the maximums for the different channels that are available. It will also tell the device what channels are available in that region. And so if you're in the United States, you want to make sure that the device is set for United States operation. Otherwise, you might find yourself broadcasting on a channel that isn't legal to broadcast on in the United States, and that channel would be a channel that other devices in that region are not listening to, and so you'd have connectivity problems. So make sure to get your region code selected properly that reflects where you actually are. And then go over to the wireless setting and set your transmitter output level to your desired output level and choose an appropriate channel that supports that output level. And I'll put up on screen the various 5G channels and their respective power levels within the United States. If you're outside of the United States, you have to check with your country's regulations as to the various maximum power levels versus 5G channel assignments. And so, if you want to get the maximum amount of power from your wireless devices, you have to make sure that you're on the specific channels that are allowed in your country to run at high power levels. And you want to not have the device set to automatic channel assignment because it might choose a channel that doesn't allow the radio to have its maximum capabilities enabled. So that was something that I recently learned when setting up a wireless access point. If you weren't aware of that, well, now you are, and I hope it helps. So thanks for tuning in and catching the video. If you found it entertaining, useful, or educational, I'd appreciate it if you take a quick second and give me a thumbs up to let YouTube know that you liked this one. If you like the content and you want to see more, I'd suggest that you consider subscribing to the channel. It's completely free, and you'll be notified when new content drops. Make sure to hit the bell so those notifications come down. Catch you again soon on another upcoming episode.